airlines, but instead of that, he give you Katahar curry, and some of us do like Katahar curry. So the dunces around us are continuing to muddy the waters. We went from a proclamation from GCOM that they're trying to really embarrass Justice Claudette Singh, putting something in her face, the sign saying 49 days, now it's 42, saying we have to go to the polls, now we don't have to go to the GCOM's stations anymore. The key part of all of this, we do have an election date. We know we will elect a new government. Our jobs, each one of us, is to make sure our name is on the list. We are registered to vote in the right area. And throughout the claim and objection period, you keep checking. When the final list has come out and before the final objections, you make sure your name is on the list. That is how we put the dictatorship and the dunces to shame. And no matter what they do, we will vote them out. And the promises will not make a difference. You know, I will make a couple of dunce. I think, as I said, I think that team of Granger has some permanent dunce caps that we used to wear as kids. They probably pulled it out of the closet that they took office in 2015, and they keep wearing it every day. Imagine somebody representing Granger at the United Nations, 180 plus countries, get up and speak on behalf of Guyana, representing our national flag, representing our nation. And the lady Karen Cummings, I think was the foreign minister, she said, and I quote, President Danger Granger. That's how she referred to him, her boss. She called him President Danger Granger. Now, if his own people realize he's danger, much as all of us out there that have been punishing in the last 5 years, and since they took office 4.5 years, imagine this last week, the presidential candidate of the PPP, including myself, went with him to St. Cuthbert Mission, Heritage Day, with riot police following us around. We're going into houses, shaking people's hand, you know, congratulating them on the Heritage Day and talking with them, and police are following us around. It's a police state. I don't know what Granger thinks he is, that we're going to get fearful of him because he could call the riot police out on us. He's got a lot coming. People's power is what will win this election. And as we go through the phases of the election process, again, I urge you, make sure your name is on the list. If you want to see Mr. Granger permanently wear the dunce card, check the list. Your name is on the list, he will permanently wear that dunce hat because we will vote him out. Elections are coming up. Be ready, be cognizant, be patient, and ensure that all your family is ready to vote. We're going to have a very good campaign. You're going to see the vast difference from a young candidate of Irfan Ali that has the plans, the programs, and the initiatives necessary to change Guyana over the next decade. And a man who is stuck in the 80s coming back to you saying, Qatar, whatever he calls it, is coming to Guyana. He's got a lot coming to him because he's not delivered in a single new promise, a single new idea over the last 4.5 years. So, Danger Granger, quoting Karen Cummings again, that's not my title. Mr. Granger, so do you know, your people is calling you Danger Granger. They're using the term president, which I wouldn't use, but to quote Karen Cummings, speaking to the world at the United Nations this week, Danger Granger. I'm glad that his own people are seeing for themselves what they are faced with in this country, and our people are ready for elections. Sadly, we've got to wait till March, but the fact is we have a date. The fact is all of the international community is putting so much pressure. The British, for example, pulled the funds for the road to Brazil that they said they had. And the lies continue. And we've got to watch, when you look at the Chronicle headlines and you look at NCN, you have to wonder, we're living in the same country. I saw a quote from one of my colleagues that said he listened to the information person of Granger talks about Guyana, how great Guyana is and how great they've done over the last 4.5 years. And he said he was looking to buy a ticket to go to that country. So I'm not sure what they have seen in the 4.5 years. What have you seen? I know what I've seen. I've seen the nation fall apart on economics. We have seen all our sectors lose the pounds we had. We have saw our exchange rate go up. We have seen our debt went up. We have seen agriculture gone down. We have seen sugar gone. We've seen hundreds of people losing their job, 30,000 people out of work. That's what we have seen over the last 4.5 years. So if you're flying into Guyana, that's what we are faced with. And then you look at what they announced this week, $350 million they will spend on Mashramani on Republic Day. And you look across the country, what is happening right now, the floods, the breakage of our seawalls, water coming into all the farmers in Region 5 and Region 3, losing their crops. And you're going to spend $350 million on MASH when that money could have gone to our farmers to help them recover. Mr. Granger, Danger Granger, dunce. Our farmers need the help. Mashramani can wait. We have an election in March. But, we will celebrate our republic. We're all very patriotic. We believe in our nation, sense of duty and pride. We all love our country. But when our country is in crisis, as it is today, wasting $350 million is not something I would advise Danger Granger to do. We've got to make sure our people, the people are already suffering, Region 5, Region 6, Region 3, and let them all across our nation, people are suffering. Why waste our taxpayers' money? I told many people, when Mr. Granger goes out and he comes and he tells you something, or he paints your buildings in your Amerindian village or your communities green, it's our money he's spending. It's not government money or PNC money. It's our money. So when they buy a bucket of paint and paint a community center green in Oriella or wherever they're painting those buildings, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? It's our money. And Mr. Granger needs to understand, when you continue to waste our taxpayers' money, you're going to fall. You're going to fall hard. The higher you climb on a pedestal that has weak legs, the harder you will fall. And Mr. Granger, the harder you will fall as the time goes on. There's nothing you can do now. There's nothing you can tell the nation in the next few months during the campaign that anyone will believe you. And don't put on that church hat. And I urge some of those church leaders, I've been in the church system for decades. And what I watched the church leaders praise Mr. Granger for a good man and a good life and all these things, he's devious because he continues to not take care of our population. He can't be an anointed man and not take care of the servants. We are the servants. We are the people of our nation. And Mr. Granger, you are there to serve us, and you are not doing that. So stop it. We're glad the election. I hope you call and accept the debates. When Mr. Irfan Ali talks about economics and he talks about the transportation economics, he talks about our productive sectors. He talks about 50,000 new jobs, 50,000 house lots, the grants back to our school children. He talks about developing the energy sector. What are you going to say, Mr. Granger? The green paint strategy? Dr. Jagdeo had the LCDS. He monetized it. When you monetize a program, you make money. We were able to make money off our carbon credits. As Mr. Granger made $1 for our country off of his green paint strategy? Zero. Zero. Ladies and gentlemen, my brothers and sisters, you don't have to look far to wonder and figure out what has happened to our country and what Mr. Granger has done to our nation. Those taxes that is on us is a burdensome. When you can even now, Exxon is going to be in trouble because they may not be able to bring the first oil out. If you don't have a lift agreement in place, which they cannot sign with the current government because they are unconstitutional, that oil will have to stay until after elections. Who hurts, Mr. Granger? Who hurts? The nation. This is not the PPP telling Exxon not to do it. It's not the people of Guyana telling the world and the foreign investors not to come in. You have done this to our country. You solely, as Karen Cummins called you, Danger Granger, you solely has affected our nation. You solely has put us in this place where we now have to get the wrath of the international community. We've got senators around the United States, presidents of countries and prime ministers of countries calling for you just to follow our rule of law. You should be embarrassed, Mr. Granger, embarrassed for outsiders to tell you, follow your law, not follow United States law or Britain law or the European Union. Follow your own law. That's what you're there for. Follow your law. So we have been embarrassed around the world where foreign leaders, foreign entities have to tell a man who's unconstitutional to follow your law. Follow the law. As I said earlier, people call me a political activist. When a former president breaks the law and sits in office, squats in office, and breaks his own constitution, he's a dictator. So let's all get ready for election. It's going to be a vigorous campaign. I'm excited about it. Your finale is excited about it. The PPP Civic is excited about it. The people of our country is excited. APNU people that are coming over to the PPP are excited about it because they know APNU supporters are aware of what is happening around them. When you look at Stabroek Market and the flood and the devastation, and those vendors cannot sell their goods in market, who suffers, Mr. Granger? You're not spending money the right way. You're spending money in concerts. You're giving away funds out there, billions of dollars that you're wasting. Billions of dollars you're wasted on painting or buildings. All those could have gone to infrastructure developments. And the things you've tried to do with what the PPP left you, all that money the PPP left you to finish the airport, the road, the Sheriff Street Road, the East Coast Road, all that money they left you, and 4.5 years later, you cannot finish a project, an airport project. Somebody please get me a couple dunce caps. I'll get it to Mr. Granger if he doesn't have a new one, because he's wearing the same old dunce cap of the 70s. That's what he's bringing to our nation. So let's get ready, as I said, for election. Pay close attention. When you look and you wonder how 50,000 new jobs will be created under a President Ali's administration, you look across some of the sectors that we're having right now. You have to rebuild the sugar industry. It's not about sugar, it's about sugar cane. You know what that sugar cane is worth? In many ways, biofuels, molasses, crystals of the sugar, energy. The sugar cane is what we have to rebuild. And that is one of the key planks of the PPP new manifesto, is rebuilding the sugarcane industry. That will recreate those jobs that have fallen out, that Mr. Granger fired all those sugar workers. When you look now at the transport economics, and you hear the terms of the Deepwater Harbor, and you hear the transportation link to Brazil and Suriname, what that means is getting our goods to market at a faster rate. When you look at the energy solutions, when you look at the natural gas and Amalia Falls project that will come back to an integrated energy plant, that brings money to our pockets, because you will be able to get better paying jobs, not the $72,000 job that some of these foreign companies are paying our workers to be on the oil rig. And Mr. Granger, I want to tell you this again. You have given away our territory. You have given away our resources. You have hurt our nation and our people. You have given concessions to the Trinidadians and everybody else out there. It's our wealth, Mr. Granger. It's our wealth. You know you're going to be out of office. I don't know what your team is going to get when they are out of office from those bad deals they've done. But our people come first, Mr. Granger. You will go down in history as a president, a former president, that has taken the wealth of our nation and given it away to foreigners. Your hero took away the wealth from the foreigners and brought it to Guyana, and he ruined the country by trying to do it. You have taken our wealth that was left under the PP administration, and you've given it away. The oil is ours. There's nothing you can explain to anyone of the business community in Guyana. Why would you give a Trinidadian company 30% tax-free concessions, 30% taxes waived? How do you expect us to compete, Mr. Granger? Why did you give away our jobs to the foreign companies, our resources to the oil company? 1% recoverable, which ends up being zero. That's what you've done. It hurts our people. And the floods that is happening, natural disaster, breakage of sea defenses that you did not spend the right money on. Now compound that with the taxes, the 200 plus taxes, school grants taken away. Now you didn't spend money on sea defenses. We've got all the flood with the farmers. What happens? We, the people, suffer. You continue to give away our land, our concessions, our money, resources to the foreigners. That is something I want every one of us in this election. When we go to vote, why are you voting for your finale? Why are you voting for the PPP? Because we believe in Guyana. We believe in sense of duty. We believe in taking care of our people. It's our people got to be taken care of first. Outsiders can come in afterwards. They can contribute. They can take a few percentage points that is out there in a business opportunity. But we, the people, will benefit first. And that's the commitment. The PPP has always been known as a working class party. And I can tell you, if you ever need a hands-on president in the next decade, you need a hands-on president of Air Finale. That's why I support and I would advocate and I would explain what a hands-on president means. You don't need the elite of Granger driving in 18 cars, flying in helicopters, walking with his head up, don't shake a single person's hand, go to churches and school. You don't need a president like that. You need a president that will be hands-on. Imagine you sitting at the desk every day and walking the streets and going to communities, looking to see how you can develop their communities faster. So when you hear about investing in the productive sectors, when you hear about using enabling factors such as oil and gas to ensure that our traditional sectors benefit, who benefits? If you're a farmer and money is used to make sure our sea defenses are solid so we don't have breakage, so I don't lose my crop, you benefit. That's what money should be spent on. Money should be spent on enabling us to get our goods to market. I like my Bora, and I buy, when I travel in the US, you see the green beans in the can. If you can't get to the supermarket, you have your can. Imagine we will be able to do all of that because in our plan is putting the productive sectors back on track, bringing energy costs down, ensuring our people are treated and given the opportunity to benefit. Our businesses come first. Our businesses come first. Mr. Granger, there's no way through this election cycle you can go to the business community and tell them you put them first. You didn't. You didn't. You give away our resources. Our commitment is to ensure our people, our businesses benefit from our resources. So by reducing the taxes, by increasing the tax threshold for workers, by putting innovation in and technology in many areas, you will see those sectors come to play. And I said, imagine just putting a transportation economics in place where goods get to market quicker and faster. We will all want to stay here. I would say all our brothers and sisters that have left our shores will want to come back home, and we will welcome them back home first before we welcome anybody else. They want to come back, come back. Now is the time to look across. If you're paying attention to the economics and you hear about the future of our nation, this is the place to be. But you need a hands-on president. You need a hands-on team that understands the economics. And that's what the PPP will bring. And you will see that in our manifesto. You know, Clive Thomas, this last week, kind of said that he believes in giving us all cash. It sounds great, right? Give us cash from the oil. But then when he was faced with the true answer, he said, until we produce 1.5 million barrels of oil per day, that's the only way cash will be available to come to our pockets. We are nowhere close to 1.5 million barrels a day. That's probably 2030. So what happened, Mr. Thomas, between 2020 and 2030? If we don't take care of our sectors, we don't ensure tourism is taken care of, we don't ensure agriculture, we don't ensure mining, we don't ensure sugar, we don't ensure our gold and all of the bauxite and all these other industries that will take us rapidly into the next decade, Mr. Thomas, Granger, you're totally lost. We need back the plans to put in place. When we talk about carbon credits, we talk about the LCDS, call it what you want. You have to monetize it. The world needs carbon credits. If we're not going to cut down our forests, we better be paid for it. That's what Dr. Jagdeo said. You want us to give carbon credits, pay us for it. And it's going to be worth much more. You've seen the emission reports around the world. Our forest is going to be worth a lot of money. Forget, oil is going to come, and we're going to use that enabling oil factor money to do a lot of other things. But we've got a lot of resources that we will make sure that we get back in place to ensure that we, the people, manage better and take care of our people first. So very clear cut what is going to be your decision going forward. And I tell, as I travel around and I go to many PNC areas, and I tell people, you have a lot of options. You can vote for APNU, but your life wasn't better. So if you're voting down because you're addicted to some form of PNC, you're just doing a disservice to yourself and a disservice to your young children. And some of you may not be able to vote for the PPP for whatever reason. Best stay home. But those that are ready to take our country forward, those that are ready to take part of our nation's development, put your X next to the PPP. And the reason is you're going to become part of that team of a President Ali that will make sure. People say, where is Irfan Ali? I can tell you, he's out there touching people. He is listening to the ideas. He's traveled around the country over the last couple of months while Granger sat in his office somewhere. We don't even know where he was. Mr. Ali has been out meeting people. He's been meeting people, getting the ideas in place, making sure he understands what each community needs. Dr. Jagdeo has been focused on getting the electoral cycle in place, making sure that we're structurally ready as a party, and you got to commend the man for his due diligence and his diligence in working. Everything so far, some of the changes you've seen just in the last week, if it wasn't for us watching those hooligans, as they want to call other people, trying to disrupt GCOM. And I hope the international community who has volunteered and want to put people in GCOM today needs to go sit in that office. When you've got people trying to pull wool over Justice Claudette Singh, and I hope Justice Claudette Singh realized that when she signs that document, it's embarrassing when you sign a document and you didn't pay attention to it. So I hope next time she doesn't sign a document, she doesn't pay attention. She had to reverse it. And I'm proud that she's strong enough to reverse that document. So as we go forward, we get into the election cycle, let's all of us with passion, with sense of duty, pride of our national anthem, one people, one nation. We are a land of many people, but we're ready to take our country forward. We're ready to work together, regardless of your political affiliation. Let's be part of this process, be part of the election cycle, ensure your name is on the list. And when the time comes to vote, you're voting for yourself. You're voting for the next decade. You're voting for the young people. Our young people is not the future. They are our today. Let's do them a favor and ensure that our wealth in our nation stays here. The wealth of our nation comes to our people first, and ensure our new generation, who is our today, get a chance to develop themselves going forward and be proud of our country. We have a great country, and we look forward to working with everyone across the political divide. Thank you for joining me. God bless you.
Guyanese, beware of APNU, beware the AFC and Nagamutu. Our constitution is in jeopardy. They're holding on to power for the oil money. Now after 4 years of incompetence, Bharat moved the vote of
Mr.
confidence.
Rajkumar, no.
But if you put them back
Mr.
there,
Yes,
Guyana will be worse than 92. They drug on corrupt, they thief the money.